Today we are going to make and decorate a mango chiffon cake with homemade mango preserves. Let's start by making the mango preserves. These are the ingredients. Put all ingredients in a small saucepan and place over high heat. Stir it occasionally and bring it to a boil. Then reduce the heat and allow mixture to simmer, stirring occasionally for about 30 to 45 minutes until it thickens. Now remove from heat, pour it into a bowl so it can cool off quickly. Once it's fully cool, pour into jars, cover with a lid, and refrigerate. It will be a good idea to make this one day ahead. Now let's make the cake. These are the ingredients. First, mix the vegetable oil and cake flour. The batter is thicker if compared to all of my previous chiffon cakes because we are going to mix some mango puree in it, and this is going to add more moisture to the cake. Now add the mango puree, milk, and egg yolks. Stir until all well combined. As you can see, this method of first combining the oil and flour is simple and won't develop gluten, even for this thicker batter. You can stir it any way you want and you don't have to sift flour neither. Now let's whip the egg whites. Add cream of tartar to the egg whites and beat on high speed. Cream of tartar can stabilize the meringue. If you don't have it, you can add a small teaspoon of lemon juice instead. You can also use a stand mixer for this, as I've demonstrated in my previous coffee chiffon cake video. I used a hand mixer for this, so you can see that both methods will work just fine. When you see big bubbles forming, add a third of the sugar. When the foam becomes finer and silkier, you can add another third of the sugar and continue to beat on high speed. The foam will continue to get silkier and you will start to see some texture lines or trails. At this point, you can add the remaining sugar and beat on medium-high speed. Continue beating until you see some stiff peaks. After lifting the whisk, the meringue is stable and firm and the peak will not drip. Scoop about 1/3 of the egg whites to the batter and fold it in gently. This is to lighten the batter initially and prepare it for the rest of the egg whites. Once it's mixed well, change to a spatula and pour it into the egg whites. Continue to fold gently until it is all combined. Repeat this movement until the batter is homogeneous. Don't overdo it. Transfer the batter to the pan immediately. Tap it a couple of times to remove any large air bubbles. Shake it and draw a few circles with a toothpick to flatten the surface. Place in the preheated oven and bake it at 300 degrees for 50 minutes. Personally, I prefer to bake it at 300 degrees for 40 minutes, then increase the temperature to 320 degrees for 5 minutes. This is after a few testings with my oven as oven temperature varies. If I just bake it at 300 degrees for 50 minutes, even though it's perfectly baked, the top of the cake will be a bit sticky after it's cool. So if you have the same problem, you can do the same switch. Once it's out of the oven, tap it on the table once, then cool it upside down. It will take 2 to 3 hours to cool completely. Now that the cake is cool, remove it from the pan carefully, then slice it into 3 layers. Remember to flatten the top as well. Now let's start decorating it. Add a little bit of cream at the bottom to secure the cake to the cake board. Apply a layer of the homemade mango preserves. Then apply a layer of whipped cream frosting. I'll provide a link on how to make this in the description below. Now add some diced mango. Cover the mango with another thin layer of whipped cream. Repeat these steps. The top layer is usually the bottom of the cake. This is because it's usually the flattest part and will be easier to frost. I usually only use whipped cream frosting to decorate the chiffon cake, never buttercream. This is because chiffon cake is very light and airy. You want to match it with something light and airy as well. Buttercream is just too heavy. Smooth out the cream the best you can. Put this in the fridge to chill while we prepare the mango chocolate drip. First, cut the gelatin leaves into strips and soak it in cold water. Let them sit for 10 minutes, allowing the gelatin to bloom. This is the brand I use. Warm the mango puree and sugar in a bowl placed over a pot of simmering water. Add in heavy cream and white chocolate chip. Warm until all chocolate chips are melted. turn off the heat and add the softened gelatin sheets. Stir until gelatin is completely dissolved. Transfer it into a different bowl so it will cool off more quickly. The mango chocolate is very hot now and is too runny to put on a cake. As it continues to cool, it will thicken. You need to keep an eye on this, checking the consistency once in a while. About 5 minutes later, the consistency you are looking for is like this. It's dripping but not runny. It is now between 80 to 90 degrees. Transfer it into a piping bag. Now take the cake out from the fridge and start piping the mango chocolate drip on it. Using a piping bag will give you better control of how much you want it to drip. You can just pipe this around the edge or cover the entire top. Once you're happy with how it drips, then put it back into the fridge immediately to set. About 15 minutes later, the mango chocolate has set and we can add other garnish. I'm decorating it with some whipped cream, diced mango, and macadamia nuts. How you want to decorate it is entirely up to you. For the finishing touch, I'm adding some crushed edamame because they are green. A little hint of green always makes your dessert looks better. I think that's why you see mint leaves on cakes or ice cream all the time. I like everything on my cakes to be edible and enjoyable, therefore I always go with the green color edamame nuts. And this is now completed.